Okay, like I said in class, I'm not going to explain all of these, but I am going to explain those that I think you might have some trouble with. So really quickly, if we talk about questions like 3 and 4, both of these are slope-intercept. So we're going to start, here I started at -2, and then I counted my slope as 3 over 1, so I'm going to go up 3 and over 1, or we can also go down 3 and to the left 1. Similarly on 6, I'm not adding anything out here, so I'm going to start at 0, and my slope is down 3 and right 4, or I can go up 3 and left 4. Remember, you have to think about this as putting the negative sign in one place. You can't put the negative sign in both places, so it can be -3 over 4 or 3 over -4. On questions like 4 and 5, both of those, if you can do intercepts, you should, but if they don't divide, or like on 5, if you don't have enough room to graph 20, then you've got to rewrite those equations in slope-intercept form, which is what we've been working on for a few weeks now. So if I subtract 8x, that gives me 5y equals -8x plus 25. And this week we said we want to divide everything individually, which gives us y equals -8 over 5x plus 5, and then we're just back to graphing slope-intercept form. All right, very similarly on 5, I'm going to subtract the x, so -4y equals -x plus 20. That's like -1x. Divide by -4. When you divide by negative, that's going to cause some sign changes, so I've got y equals positive 1/4 x minus 5. And that's the line that they have graphed here. All right, question 7, anytime you just have a y equals or x equals line, it's going to be completely horizontal or vertical. So I know this is y equals -1, and I need it to cut just through the y-axis, which is going to cause the line that you see right here. On 8, we could do cover up, but that's going to cause me to have an intercept right here, which means I don't know how my line runs. So again, I need to solve for y. So -y is going to equal -x plus 0, divide by -1, which is going to give me y equals x, or y equals 1 over 1x plus 0, however you need to write that. You should recognize that this is our parent function, our most basic line. On 9, the easiest thing to do is cover up and find that the x-intercept is -1 and the y-intercept is +1. That's because you have y equals -1, and that's why you get +1 in the end there. On 10, again, you're going to have to solve. So y equals -3x plus 2, or y equals 3x minus 2 when you divide everything by -1. And then graph using slope-intercept. Question 11, again, start at -1 on the x-axis. This time we're cutting through the x-axis because it says x equals. And 12, remember 12, start on 4, and you should do rise 5, run 2. But since you run out of room, you've got to go backwards, which means you have to go down 5 and to the left 2 to find your previous point. Same thing again. Make sure that you double check always your slope, because this looks positive, and my equation said I needed a positive slope. So you just want to check that and make sure you haven't accidentally counted backwards, specifically if you run out of room on a graph. All right, question 13. You're just identifying where are you starting. That's at -4. And then find 2 points so that you can count your slope. -7 over 2 because you're going down. Same idea on 14 and on 16. And remember, question 15, completely vertical or horizontal lines are either x equals or y equals. And because this is cutting through the x-axis, it's going to be x equals. All right, 17 and 18, it asks for standard form, but they give you the slope-intercept. So on both of those, I would start by putting it in slope-intercept form. -1 over 3x plus 3. And then now I want to move it to standard. And remember, standard says I can't have any fractions, so I'm going to multiply the fractions away. 3y equals -x plus 9. And then I need to get my x and y on the same side, which is how they get +1x plus 3y equals 9. Very similar idea on 18. All right, questions 19 through 20, I'm not going to go over in the video. I think you all know how to do slope-intercept form. That just means the y is by itself. And standard form, x and y on the same side, no fractions. If you need help with any of those questions specifically, please come to tutoring tomorrow. Okay, for questions, the questions like 24 through 26, this whole set down here, when you're going to write the standard form of, or sorry, not the standard form, when they give you a point and a slope, you should start all of those by doing y equals y1, or sorry, y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. Remember, that means to use opposite points. So if I look at 25, for example, that's going to be y plus 3 equals 1/2 times x minus plus 4. And then you're going to distribute, which is going to give me y plus 3 equals 1/2 x plus multiply the top, 4/2. Now in standard form, when we do standard, we want to get rid of the fractions. So the first thing you might do is multiply everything by 2, and then you're going to move stuff to get x and y on the same side. On question like 24, when it says slope-intercept form, you're going to do the same thing, but instead of getting rid of the fractions, all you need to do really is move this piece to the other side. Okay, so if you have questions about how they're getting their answers, you can come ask, but you need to at least start here and try to work your way to getting the final format that they're asking for on these 3 questions. Now 23 is a little bit different because 23 gives us an undefined slope, which means I can't plug anything in. So anytime they say undefined, I try to just graph kind of what it looks like. So 0, -5 is down here, and an undefined slope is going to go straight up and down. And I told you all this is like one of the trickier ones, but it's a vertical line, which means it's going to cut through the x-axis. That's why it's x equals, and it's cutting through the x-axis at 0. You can also see that when you look at the coordinate there. If it had said a slope of 0 for this one, you would have been cutting through the y-axis, but here we're cutting through the x. All right, last page, 27 through 30, all of these give you 2 points, which means you have to find the slope first. So to find slope, we do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's going to give me +1/4. And now you just use that and pick a point to set up your equation. So here I picked the one with both of the negatives, but this is going to be y plus 5 equals 1/4 x plus 1. Now I need to distribute the 1/4. So I've got y plus 5 equals 1/4 x plus 1/4. And this is slope-intercept, so I can't get rid of the fractions. I have to move my 5 to the other side. So I'm really trying to think to myself, 1/4 minus 5. Well, if I need like denominators, I need to think what number can I put on the top here so that it equals 5 when I divide by 4, and the answer there is 20. So 1 minus 20 is -19, which is then how they're getting to their final answer given right here. The rest of those are all the same. 29 and 30 are the only ones that are a little bit different, and the only difference really is at the same step. If you look back on your previous page, instead of moving the 5 over, you're going to multiply by 4 to try to get rid of fractions if it's asking for standard form. All right, these are the answers that I had intended for questions 31 through 36. Just make sure you know why I'm picking all of those values. If you know where all that information is coming from, then you will be okay on this part of the test for tomorrow. This part of the test tomorrow is just going to be true-false questions, asking like, is this the x-intercept, or maybe asking you to compare between different formats.